What's going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday, and welcome into the Fantasy Alarm MLB DFS live stream. I am your host, James Grande, joined by my favorite relief pitcher, Scott Proctor, known in the streets, none other than Keith Eister. Keith, what's going on, brother? Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. Good to be back. Another late fill-in, another fun slate. Lots of offense to play for. Postponement already, some weather to talk about. So, 7 games, I believe. 6 games now, I suppose. So a little bit smaller. But
Was 7 down to 6. You can cross off Atlanta and Washington off the board. They have been washed away. Now,
nice.
As we know, I'm always excited to see if it's going to rain in Washington because we've seen this before many years ago with the infamous no rain, rain out in Washington. So it's always – we actually just talked about this like maybe 2 days ago. And here we are again. But thank you all for tuning in to today's 6-game breakdown. Possibly 5, as Keith alluded to. There is some potential weather in New York. And Kevin Roth over at Roto Grinders, the actual meteorologist in the space, no longer listening to John's opinions because they all stink on weather. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Roth does. And Roth basically says that if the Yankees-Rangers starts late, this game is cooked like a Christmas ham. So keep that in mind. That is a 7:05 Eastern start, or scheduled to start at 7. If they push it back, we're all doomed. It's 5 games. And we'll go from there. Just like the morning slate. I hope you guys won on the morning or afternoon slate. I know for Keith, it's the morning. For me, it's the afternoon. Geography's crazy. Thank you again, Poe Degen Stoner in the chat. He is in similar time zone to you over there in Garden City, Colorado. Super high, up in the mountains, of course, nothing else. And Cujo, no, thank you, dude. We always appreciate your support. Pre-show, live stream. You get a comment in every show. We appreciate you. We appreciate everyone else that's tuning in. Please hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel so you know when we do go live, which is every Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern, as long as there's a big enough slate for us to have one. And we do the pre-show the night before. You can catch that either in the night, when you're having your coffee in the morning, et cetera, et cetera. Keith, you ready to get into some pitching?
Let's do it. There's at least one name to talk about.
There is.
It falls off in a hurry.
There is at least one. Because AJ Smith-Shawver no longer on the slate. Jacob deGrom could possibly be not on the slate. Things are falling off quickly, but there is one bald man out in Boston that is on the slate. Garrett Crochet. Really nice couple bounce back starts after, a little bit of a rocky go. John was talking about Boston media talking about his velocity being down, and then suddenly he's thrown 100 again the last couple starts, and everything's okay in the Garrett Crochet land. Are you just plugging and playing Garrett Crochet? Because, Keith, that was the plan with Hunter Brown on the early slate. It's not always a concrete answer, but like sometimes you just if it fails, it fails, right? Are you playing Garrett Crochet?
He's clearing away the top pitcher on the slate. I don't think there's any argument there. It's not a perfect matchup against the Mets. They don't strike out a ton. They're an above average offense, top 10 this season. But like you said, the form for Crochet here has been really good. The problem is there's a lot of bats we want to pay for on this slate. But there's really no other pitcher on the slate to feel really confident about. There's a couple names we're going to discuss that are in play, but it's not pretty outside of Crochet. So I'm going to try to get to him as much as I can. We're going to have to talk about the Phillies and Coors, obviously, and they're expensive. To get Crochet and a premium Philly stack is very, very difficult. So especially without a value SP2 that we can feel good about. So I want as much as I can get. He's clearing away the top option on the slate. Other dynamics will prevent me from just loading him into every single lineup.
Yeah, he is currently the highest rostered pitcher of the night, followed by Jacob deGrom. If we get this game starting on time, what say you about DeGrom and specifically DeGrom versus Crochet? Because neither of them have particularly good matchups. I would say Crochet might have it a little easier. Maybe you can give the edge to DeGrom because the strikeouts are more prevalent on the Yankee side, but they also hit more home runs than the Mets. Like, what say you if we're not worried about the weather here? We're there's a situation, the rain passes, we're good. What say you about DeGrom versus Crochet?
Yeah, if weather were good, he'd be right there in the same conversation. He's been much better of late. He looked like he might still be dealing with something to begin the season. That's no longer the case. He looks back to being the good old Jacob DeGrom we all know and love. So matchup kind of goes out the window when we're discussing that pitcher. I think there's more strikeouts coming than what he's racked up so far this season. I think he's still got 30% strikeout potential inside of him. We've kind of seen that over the last couple of starts here. So the matchup against the Yankees, I would be fine attacking. They are the best offense in baseball. So as you mentioned, there's plenty of risk there. It's in Yankee Stadium, which is one of the best home run parks in all the land. So lots of risk here for DeGrom, but lots of upside as well. The Yankees definitely have plenty of swing and miss throughout the lineup. Without the weather, it's a closer conversation. It's still Crochet ahead of DeGrom just because of that home run risk that he's dealing with today. But you factor in the weather and it's very clearly Crochet when you add in weather risk as well. And even if they start on time, like if that rain delay pops up in the third or fourth inning and it lasts an hour, he's cooked anyway. Like he's not coming back after an hour, especially with all the injuries he's dealt with. So definitely some risk here.
An hour with all the injuries, like, shoot, it might be like 20 minutes. They might not push Jacob DeGrom out just with how much he's dealt with in his past, right? Stopping mid-30s pitcher that has his injury history looks like a Target shopping list that your wife or girlfriend or significant other goes on. Like, sheesh, So yes, I completely agree. We're going to ignore AJ Smith-Shawver here again. You see him here. He is not available to us based on that game. Actually, you know what? I'll do a little. Hopefully, it doesn't ruin anything. Okay. Usually, it's like sometimes. Oh, it ruined it. It now has all of the Braves pitchers listed. That makes everything so much worse. You know what I'll do here? We'll just go ahead and we'll just quickly just select these games so we don't have to worry about that one. Okay.
There's always a way around it, right?
Corbin Burns, we'll just run through the 9K and 8K tier real quick. Corbin Burns, 93, gets the Dodgers. Kevin Gossman, 8,800, gets the struggling Padres. And Tyler McGill gets the Boston Red Sox in Fenway. What is there like any interest here? Obviously, Burns has looked as good as he has probably since the first half of last year in an Orioles uniform. Gossman kind of talked about this previously. There's a lot of really bad underlying stuff for Kevin Gossman this year. The Rays exploited that, crushed him for a bunch of home runs. Will that happen against the Padres? And McGill just it's not a fun matchup, and not a fun matchup if you're going to walk a bunch of people. But he does have strikeout upside. Like, what's appealing to you in this tier here, Keith?
Yeah, Burns and Gossman obviously have the name value, but they're not the pitchers that they were a couple of years ago. Gossman has been declining in velocity for a few years. Burns' strikeouts are all the way down 22.5% this season. And swinging strikes are right down there with him, 10.5% or thereabouts on the swinging strike. So it's not like he's getting unlucky. The decrease in strikeouts is absolutely warranted. And then he gets the Dodgers on top of that, which is obviously brutal. He's overpriced. There's no other way to say it. He's overpriced for this matchup. The slate, however, doesn't afford us a lot of other options. So Burns is in my pool. I don't feel good about it. He was very good against the Dodgers 2 starts ago. So we've got that working for us. At 7 shutout innings, I believe. 5 strikeouts, I think he managed in that one. But I don't feel good about the upside, especially for the $9,300 price tag. Kind of the same thing with Gossman, who gets a very tough matchup against the Padres. His strikeouts are down. Don't feel good about that either. So that leaves us with Tyler McGill. And I think he's my SP2 as of the moment on the slate. especially considering price. Boston does strike out a little bit, 6th most against righties in the league. So there is some strikeout value here. McGill's strikeout rate looks incredible at 29%. But if you dig a little bit deeper, I'm pretty skeptical of it, to be honest. His swinging strikes are down around 10%. Let me see. I'm pulling it up right now. 10.5% on the swinging strikes, 29% on the strikeout rate. Last season, 12.9% swinging strike rate netted him a 27% strikeout rate. So his swinging strikes are lower than they were last year when he had a lower strikeout rate. So I don't think we're getting 29% strikeouts, but on this slate, I'm kind of overlooking that and throwing it out the window. I don't expect him to go out there and strike out 10, but I do think there's strikeout upside in the matchup with the Red Sox, and there aren't any other options that I feel good about. So McGill is currently my second pitcher behind Crochet.
So what you're saying is you don't believe in Will Warren. Okay, noted. We'll table that discussion for another day. The rest. That's what we'll label the rest of pitching. The rest. So like JP Sears, in theory, would have a great matchup here. It's in 90-degree weather in a ballpark that is totally offensively minded and catered to, and he's a fly ball pitcher. Dustin May, you will find Arizona first or second in every offensive category against right-handed pitching this year. Taijuan Walker is a terrible pitcher that I have no belief in at that ERA, but he gets the Rockies. Ryan Yarbrough has actually looked really good this year for the Yankees, but he doesn't miss bats. Kahanowitz, bad pitcher, keeps everything on the ground until he doesn't. Randy Vasquez, the league's luckiest pitcher of all time. Great matchup, but he is the luckiest pitcher of all time. And then you have Palmquist, who is a top 100 prospect in baseball, but he has a top 10 offense against lefties in his home ballpark. Give me something to be hopeful for. Okay, how about this? Let's do an exercise. Give me the 3 pitchers in that tier that you are most confident will score you double-digit fantasy points.
I think Sears is the one that stands out to me, and it's not comfortable by any means. The ballpark is very scary. The Angels have power. Yes. The Angels also strike out at the highest rate.
They are the most bizarre offense in baseball because they're top 5 against righties in power and top 10 in lefties, and then they're like league worst like in every other category imaginable.
Yeah, so as long as he avoids the home run ball, I think that he can get by here. Now, this is not a strong strikeout pitcher, 18.5% strikeouts on the season. So you're banking on the matchup here to find the upside and hoping that he doesn't give up a couple of long balls that really prevent him from getting to that double-digit score. That honestly, if he gives you 12, I think you're fine with it on this slate. But there's risk with all. I'm going to be playing plenty of Angels bats against him because this is a fly ball pitcher in a home run park. Like there's plenty of risk here. But when we talk about those other names, there's nothing to inspire confidence. Dustin May is probably, in theory, the most talented, but he has not been good. The strikeouts are way down. Like I know he throws almost 100 miles an hour, but he has not been getting whiffs. The swing and miss just is not there. And Arizona as an offense has been absolutely incredible. Like you said, top 2 in basically every category against righties. So I don't want to mess with Arizona. That leads me to Sears pretty comfortably. There's no way I'm playing Taijuan Walker.
He's bad. He's a bad pitcher, dude. He's a bad pitcher.
That ERA is completely absurd. Like the BABIP is 270. The home run to fly ball is less than 6%. Like he's not going to
more likely to play Taijuan Walker or Rockies tonight.
Rockies for sure. Yep. The other name, and it's strictly a salary thing. It's Kohanowitz, and it does not feel comfortable. The Athletics are one of my favorite offenses on the entire slate. If that tells you anything. His ground ball ability, you're hoping just to get lucky with BABIP, and he finds a couple of double plays, and he survives 5 innings and gets you that 10 to 12 points that we're working on. One of the lowest strikeout pitchers in all of baseball, outside of like a Randy Vasquez type. So he's not going to get you there with strikeout upside. You really need a win, and you need 5 clean innings, and that's a tall ask against an Athletics offense that I think is very good. They've slowed down a little bit, but they're still well above average. So I prefer the A's bats in this spot, but we do need some salary at some point if we want to get the premium Phillies. So he's in the pool. It does not feel comfortable, but he's there.
I've stacked against him twice in a row, by the way. One run against the Orioles, 5 2/3 a win. 6 2/3 against the Dodgers, a win. If you get those starts, you win a GPP tonight at $5,700. Like, you're lining yourself up to win a tournament because he's like lefties. The numbers against lefties are horrible for Kahanowitz. 204 ISO, 233 expected ISO, 391 WOBA, 377 expected WOBA. You said 14% strikeout rate, doesn't miss bats, walks so many guys like to be but he just gets double plays. He just gets out of it because he gets ground ball outs. Like, it's so annoying. So is your final answer Sears, May, Kahanowitz for the double-digit fantasy points? Because that's literally possibly what we're looking for at end of this range, right? Just get me 10.
Yep, that's exactly it. If I had the salary, I would just play Crochet and DeGrom, assuming the weather's okay there, in every single lineup. But we're going to talk about a lot of Phillies here in a second. They're in a phenomenal spot as well. So I don't have all the salary in the world. I need to save some money. I feel good about McGill, and after that, I'm throwing darts for sure. So those are the names that are in my pool. I can't sit here and say I'm playing them with confidence.
Yeah, Donnie, the Atlanta-Washington game has been postponed. I have them crossed out here because every Braves pitcher was listed in the player pool, and I'm not doing that. Not doing that today. But appreciate the heads up. Justin, happy hump day to you. Good for you, getting freaky on a Wednesday. Good for you. And Power, JP Sear is going to end up well done. Is this like a cooked ref? Like, he's cooked? Well done? I mean, if you're savage if you eat something well done, so I guess that makes sense. And then chasing Kahanowitz last 2 games. I get it. I keep those too. Like Keith said it like you are just chasing something down here because there's nothing comfortable at all. So I agree. I think Kahanowitz, even though he's not a good pitcher, makes sense at the price point. No, we're not playing Palmquist, not playing Randy Vasquez, not playing Yarborough. None of that, right?
No, you could throw Yarborough into there. If you are absolutely against playing Kahanowitz, you could go to Yarborough. My issue with him is just the length. He's not really a starting pitcher. He's going to throw 70 pitches max.
Yeah, since they let Carrasco go, they've needed and everyone else is hurt. They've needed a starter, so he has stepped in. Literally 0 strikeouts, like Randy Vasquez level strikeouts for Ryan Yarbrough right now, who's wearing a Blue Jays hat in his picture. Let's go to catcher. JT Realmuto, 5K. He's actually been significantly better against righties this year. We have Will Smith, 45. Could be a Dalton rushing day. We have, I don't believe we've gotten a Dodgers lineup yet, so we will see. Hunter Goodman is actually pretty good. Austin Wells, 42. Langoliers, 4K. What do you got for me, 4K and up here at catcher, Keith?
Yeah, I mentioned expensive Phillies, and I can't afford Realmuto. They're he's way down the list of Phillies I want to play. His numbers against lefties the last couple of years really have been brutal. Used to be a guy we'd jam in against lefties no matter what, but not the case the last couple of seasons. So he's overpriced. I can't get there. Hunter Goodman looks really good to me. We've talked about liking Rockies. Taijuan Walker is not somebody we're afraid of by any means. Goodman's also been very good this season, hitting third at 4,400 Coors Field. Like lots of things to like there.
Yeah, I agree. Trying to look up the Taijuan Walker stuff. Like it's hard to kind of quantify too because he's been pitching out of the bullpen, for a large stretch of this year. So I'd like to see the Taijuan Walker starting numbers after we get a bigger sample because he's not long for this job with Mick Abel waiting in the wings. Any Langoliers love? He's been really good lately, or are you just worried about Kahanowitz because he's good against righties.
Yeah, so Kolanowitz's elite skill is ground balls
Yes.
to righties. He has one of the best ground ball rates in baseball against right-handed pitching or right-handed hitters. So I do like Langoliers because of the power. He is a fly ball hitter, which is always good when you're facing a ground ball guy. So I don't mind Langoliers. I definitely prefer A's lefties. But I have plenty of.
Yeah, he's been good against righties this year. 184 ISO. He's been better against lefties over the last couple of years. Logan O'Hoppe looks like he's slowly coming back to life after his like monster start to the year. We have Jonah Heim getting the Yarborough matchup. Gabriel Moreno 32. Didn't mention Narvaez. He homered yesterday. Alejandro Kirk 31. Torrens in the lineup. Higashioka in the lineup. Dalton Rushing we could potentially play. What do we like here in the value range at catcher?
Yeah, O'Hoppe stands out. He's had some nice power numbers against lefties dating back to last year. Should be hitting in the middle of that order against a fly ball lefty in a home run park. So I like that. The Jonah Heim is always a guy who I don't mind playing against lefties, but we do have some weather concerns there. So trying to keep an eye on that. I would have more interest if there wasn't weather, but there's too many good offensive spots that I don't have to worry about weather. So if there's any risk at all, and there's going to be, I'm probably out there. Alejandro Kirk, I like the Blue Jays a good amount. Right, Randy Vasquez just cannot keep getting away with this. He's walked more guys than he's struck out, and his ERA is 3.5. It does not make any sense whatsoever. He's going to get absolutely pummeled one of these days, and I'm just going to keep stacking against him until he does. So Kirk is my favorite cheapish option.
It makes no sense. It really is a baffling. I can't wait for the E60 on the Randy Vasquez year, like 20 years from now. Any pure punts? Higashioka's 27. Maldonado's in the lineup. If we get d'Arnaud, probably he becomes like the probably most popular catcher of the day at 2,500. I don't think we've gotten an Angels lineup yet, but if he's in it, I'm sure he'll be popular. Is there any punts, or is that it and we move on?
Yeah, Rushing, if he cracks the lineup, is intriguing, even against Corbin Burns. The Dodgers have a team total over 5, which is a bit surprising because it is Corbin Burns, but it's an elite offense, and rising tides lift all boats, right? So even if he's going to take a while to get acclimated here before we start to see power numbers and things like that, I still have interest in a very talented
young man. Yeah, is the five implied runs is that a slight at Burns or a respect level for the Dodgers? You know.
More respect for the Dodgers, I think, but also factoring in that Burns is not quite the Cy Young candidate that he was 2-3 years ago.
First base, we have a Cy Young candidate here that's played 0 innings at first base. Shohei Ohtani.
and 0 innings
at pitcher this year. That's true. That's true.
They're coming, but not yet.
Bryce Harper, Freddie Freeman, Pete Alonso, up over 5K. Take your pick, play them all. What's your take on this tier?
Yeah, elite bats all around. Obviously, Harper and Coors Field is impossible not to love. Has been fine lefty throughout his career. ISO over 200 this season against lefties, so no worries about that. It's the price tag that's tough to get to. Like Schwarber's a guy we want to talk about. Trey Turner's a guy we want to talk about. These Phillies are expensive. Their team total's over 6.5. They're facing a rookie left-handed pitcher who got absolutely destroyed in his MLB debut. So it's hard to fault the pricing. It's just if you're playing Garrett Crochet, it's tough to get more than 1 or 2 of these big bats. But Harper is right up there, probably just behind Schwarber for me as Phillies.
Me, you, and Carson Palmquist all had 0 strikeout rate, 0% K rate in our first starts. Under $5,000. Ben Rice, tough spot, but he's a powerful dude. Vladdy is awesome. You could play him against Vasquez if you think the blow-up's coming. You have the Arizona first baseman, Luis Arraez. This tier kind of feels like Vladdy and the Arizona guys. What say you?
Yep, that's exactly what it is for me. Love the Blue Jays. Full stack them, whatever you want to do. Prefer the lefties first, but Vladdy is obviously right up there with them. Naylor and Pavin Smith, if he's in the lineup, are both fine. I'm not scared of Dustin May, this version of Dustin May, at least. So Arizona is definitely somewhere I want to go with the exposure. I don't even mind shots on Gavin Sheets, even though he gets Gaussman, and Gaussman's still above average, even if he isn't elite anymore. But don't mind his price tag there.
The on the Dustin May front, righties have actually had a lot of success against him this year. Just keep that in mind. 204 expected ISO, 370 expected WOBA, 20% K rate, 8% swing strike rate. A lot of these Dodgers kind of stink against righties. It was the Landon Knack problem from the other day too. We saw Lourdes, Gabriel Moreno, and I think Suarez all homered. Was it Suarez homered? They hit a third righty hit a home run there too. So keep that in mind if you're playing Diamondbacks. Is there a value first baseman, and why is it Nick Kurtz?
Yeah, there certainly is. We talked about A's lefties. Kurtz, I homered finally yesterday.
He pissed on that baseball.
Yeah, this man is going to hit a bunch of home runs. I know he's had some struggles here to begin the season, but this is a big, powerful man. First round draft pick. Like, everything screams load up on him today. The matchup against Kohanowitz, who doesn't strike anyone out, is a plus. He has his fly ball rate isn't where you would want it to be against a ground ball guy. So that is one thing that's a little concerning, is that he just rolls over a couple of balls. But the power potential is
I went Oppo Taco last night too with that home run. So it's very good to see that he's willing to go the other way. I think that's the guy. If Texas, New York ends up being okay, you could take a shot on Berger, but they also don't look good against lefties. All the numbers don't look good against lefties. So keep that in mind too. Second base, we go. Ketel Marte tops the list. Alex Bregman still hasn't played an inning at second base, but he has eligibility there. Bryson Stott, 53. Edmundo Sosa, got to be in the lineup with a lefty on the mound. Second, third base eligible. That's great. Christian Campbell hitting fifth. He looks lost at the plate right now. Just classic rookie slump after really high. What do you like 4K and up? I'll throw Tommy Edman in there too, but this is not a strong split.
Yep. Marte is an elite hitter, so I'm good with paying for him. It's tough to do on this slate with the other guys that we want to pay for, but he's there. If Sosa's in the lineup, I really like him. It looks like a big price tag for him. And he hasn't been great against lefties this season, but he has historical success against lefties. So I think that'll come around. That's what makes it so tough to stack Philly, is even the bottom of the order guys are a little bit pricey. But he has the second base eligibility is really what puts Sosa very much in play.
And it hasn't been good from a power standpoint, but and he's definitely been lucky. When you have a 542 BABIP, you have luck on you have a lot more than luck on, you got some almighty powers on your side, like Randy Vasquez style, but he does have a 474 WOBA against left-handed pitching this year. So he's just hitting, we didn't see the power until last slate. Everything else, he's been fine. Base hit. Wouldn't shock me to see Edmundo Sosa with 4 singles and 2 runs scored tonight. And suddenly it's 16 fantasy points again for Sosa, huh? It's okay, yeah. I agree. I think he looks great there as well. What about the value second baseman? Ha-Seong Kim's 31. That's been an easy plug. Semien 3K. He looks terrible, but he is really cheap. Urias is 3,100. The Towinator 38. I mentioned that righties have given Dustin May issues. If Towinator's in the lineup, he's awesome. What do we like under 4K?
Yeah, Simeon's the name that stands out. He's been bad against lefties for a couple years, but Yarbrough's not somebody to be afraid of. He's certainly not going to swing and miss, or he shouldn't in this spot.
Do you think so?
You'd be surprised, yeah. There's always a chance, but that price tag, I'm willing to roll the dice there, assuming the weather's okay. Of course, that's going to be a caveat throughout the show here. Kyle Farmer's in Coors. I don't mind going there. Taijuan Walker's bad. Kim, I like that shout out. Just being in the elite offense, even in a matchup against Corbin Burns, and even though he's not a complete punt anymore, I'm still interested there. Amador cracked the lineup for the Rockies. Hasn't hit much early, pretty decent prospect, but I don't mind if you want to wrap that around to the top of the Rockies order and stack a couple. I could go there.
think I have anything else. I'd expect Rengifo to be in the lineup, but he hasn't been the same against lefties like he was last year. So that used to be just like death taxes Luis Rengifo against lefties, and now he's just like not a good baseball player anymore post injury. Sad. RIP to the easy plug, Luis Rengifo. Third base, pretty good position. Now I think this is the easiest spot of the day because Alec Boehm is mispriced against a lefty.
Yeah, he's the one Philly that I would say is underpriced. He should be up there 4,800, 5,000, and he's down at 4,300. So I completely agree. Alec Boehm looks like the pretty easy plug and play. I also like Ryan McMahon on the other side of that game at just 3,800. The Rockies are bad, but McMahon has been a good hitter throughout his career. He's fallen off a little bit in recent years, but he still looks fine, especially at 3,800.
Yeah, and you know what? He has fallen off a little bit. 202 ISO against righties this year. It's a 252 expected ISO, 343 WOBA, 365 expected WOBA. All 5 of his 6 home runs against, like, he's still a serviceable. The top 4 of the Rockies lineup would probably be on other teams. I can't say the rest of the lineup would. Yeah. But the top 4 could cut it on like maybe no, because they have Doyle hitting 5th now. So top 5 could be on another major league team. Everything else, not a chance. But like McMahon is in that mix as well. I agree. I shouldn't have I think Boehm is a better play, but I think McMahon is like the easy pivot. Alec Boehm is Miguel Andujar is the only other third baseman getting double-digit ownership today. I actually like Miguel Andujar. I played him last night as well. I love that he has third base eligibility now because he didn't earlier in the year, and the A's had 6 outfielders on nightly slate. If you're stacking A's, I think Andujar makes sense as value. But yeah, no one's playing McMahon. Would you play anything above Alec Boehm? For what it's worth, I mentioned it. Eugenio obviously has the massive power, and Dustin May has had a right-handed problem. I know your take on Eugenio because he's like, you're a GPP guy, he's a GPP guy. You know, you're a ponytail guy, he's a ponytail guy. You know, anything above Alec Boehm that like really interests you?
Yeah, I do like Eugenio a good amount. It's that power, the below average strikeouts of May so far. Definitely can chase a home run there. Getting up to the very top is a little bit tougher. Like, of course, you can play Rafael Devers any day, Manny Machado any day, but this is a slate where I'm not going to have a ton of them, if any at all.
Okay. Anything else in the value tier? Josh Young hitting 3rd, Vientos hitting 5th, but obviously brutal spot. Muncy wears glasses that he can now see the baseball in. It would have been awesome if he knew that earlier in the year. Barger gets Randy Vasquez. He keeps just ripping baseballs. Is there anything else, or is it not worth talking about?
Yeah, I think Barger at 2,800 is a very fine punt. I love Toronto lefties. 7 spot, not ideal, but like you said, he's been hitting the ball really hard. There's some power that should be coming. So I have a lot of Barger. I wish
there was more lefties in that lineup, but he is one of them. Yep. Shortstop, we have Trey, we have Mookie, we have Frankie, our 3 favorite Italian brothers. What's your favorite? I mean, Turner by default is the number 1 play there. He also has the easiest matchup. Probably not like too hard to discuss there, right? It's just like Turner and then.
Yeah. Pretty clearly the top play, worth every bit of the 6,200. Can get there multiple ways with the speed or with the power. Gets the platoon advantage leading off. Like there's nothing bad to say about Trey Turner. Is
Zach Nato the next best shortstop?
For me, he's
the next best shortstop on the board. No,
taking a legitimate step forward, and he gets the lefty, which his success dates years back. Even back to last year, he was elite against lefties. Now he's just becoming an elite player overall, but still has those really strong numbers against lefties. Another leadoff guy, another guy with some speed. So yeah, 4,800 in this matchup. I love this price.
Yeah, first pitch tonight, 86 degrees. 8-mile-an-hour winds blowing southwest, which is left center field. Really good ballpark, you know.
Are you calling a leadoff dong
He's
there?
hit a couple this year already, like just right out of the gates.
Yeah.
I think he took Cease deep first pitch of the game. And I think maybe Michael King was the second at bat. But I remember these two were King and Cease. And then I was like, whoa, Zach Neto against righties is a thing now too, huh? If we're taking those two guys deep, like, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think Neto might be, he's rostered as the top shortstop of the day. He might be per dollar the best shortstop of the day.
Yeah, I mean, because Trey Turner is so expensive, I think there is an argument to be
made. Is there
there.
any other shortstops that really catch your eye? 2025 future All-Star Geraldo Perdomo is here. Still hitting ninth, but he's been incredible. Bo Bichette looks like a good baseball player again. I want to get your take because I'll just keep saying this guy's name. There's never a world Ezequiel Tovar should be $3,100 in Coors Field.
Yeah, his powers, exactly. Coors Field, his power speed profile is exactly what we're looking for in DFS upside. I know the power hasn't necessarily been there this season, but he had, I don't know exactly how many home runs he had, 20 home runs last season or something like that. Yeah, 3,100 is too cheap. So cheap Rockies are becoming a theme for me. It's not a comfortable thing. It's not a good offense, but there are a couple of spots if you pick, like we talked about McMahon. Tovar fits into that same bucket at this $3,100 price tag. Top of the order guy with power and speed. I'm in there for sure. Bo Bichette is another guy I'm interested in. Like you said, he's hitting the ball hard again, which is not something he was doing for the first month or so of the season. He's had a couple of home runs here recently. He's a more talented player than what he's shown this season.
I mean, like, obviously, because the slow start, he's not going to be like a 2020 guy, but at least you can see a path like, okay, the power looks to be there again. Like where it evaporated last year, then it wasn't there the first month. He's hitting home runs again. It's good to see. Let's move on because I don't. Jacob Wilson, I don't know if he's going to be in the lineup tonight. But if he isn't, if he is, it's not the right split for him, or not the right split against Kahanowitz anyway. Outfield, we go. It is an expensive position. Power just commented on it about the Kevin Roth update, and he did update it on Roto Grinders. So to you, Kevin Roth. He is expecting they play 9 innings but they play through some rain. So it looks like per Roth, obviously he doesn't have 100% success rate either, but from the weather goat, it looks like that game's going to play. Does that change your opinion on that game at all? And anything that we've talked about?
It makes me more comfortable with the bats for sure. I still have some reservations about DeGrom because, like you said, any delay at all might be a risk that he doesn't come back out. So I want to play DeGrom in this spot, but I'm still a little skeptical. I'll monitor that right up until lock and make my decision because he would be a top 3 pitcher on this slate if the weather's good. But the bats seem fine to me now, so I'm good with some bats there.
Yeah, more so on the Texas side, though.
Right, yeah, because we're not necessarily picking
unless you're using Judge, because
that's always
you could just play like. I've said this in every sport I've ever done. Like when I see a low-owned star, and less in baseball because it's harder to like stars aren't successful 100% of the time than like versus basketball, but Aaron Judge can homer against Jacob deGrom twice tonight, and Jacob deGrom could throw 8 innings of 2-run baseball, and neither thing would be surprising, right? Like Judge has 2 home runs, deGrom pitches 8 innings with 2 earned, and you're like, oh yeah, right. Two goats being goats. Like it just is what it is. So I'm not saying Judge is my favorite play because Kyle Schwarber, Ohtani, Corbin Carroll, Jackson Merrill, Castellanos has there been a world event today? I'm not sure. Teoscar 50. I mean, there's no shortage of like bad plays. Just saying you could always play Judge if you wanted to. Is Schwarber your favorite play? I know you had mentioned it way back at first that Harper was one of your favorite spend ups. I assume that has to mean, would you rather play Schwarber because we're just more likely to get home run?
Yes. I mean, Schwarber is my favorite play on the entire slate. There's a couple of factors here. He's really expensive,
Yep.
which is a good thing for ownership. He's lefty. He has been absolutely absurd against lefties this season. So if people are going to look at that and say it's lefty, I don't know if I can play Kyle Schwarber at 6,500 in that matchup. Good for them. I'm playing him. I'm not saying he's going to be this good against lefties. It's impossible, really. I'm pulling him up now because it's absolutely ridiculous what he has done this season against lefties. He has a 435 ISO, a 497 WOBA. Yeah, 20% barrel rate. Like, it's just absurd. Like, he's on fire. He's been mashing lefties this season. There's nothing bad to say about that.
In 78 plate appearances, eight of them have left the yard. He has 8 home runs. And Keith, I'll spring. The expected numbers are actually better. 467 expected ISO, 513 expected WOBA. Pretty good. It's pretty good.
Sounds worth 6,500 to me. It's how to fit him with Crochet is the biggest struggle here.
How to fit him with Crochet, definitely the biggest struggle. You can play any of the others. They look great. Castellanos gets the lefty. He's good against lefties. 194 expected ISO this year. 360 expected WOBA. Teoscar, he's back. Wyatt Langford stands out a little bit. Really good. Obviously, park environment. Really good matchup against lefties for Wyatt Langford. 5,100. What about when we drop below 5,000? Jarren Duran, 4,900. He's really starting to look like the player from last year again. Jordan Beck has looked solid since being recalled. Trent Grisham is the best player in the history of baseball. Kepler won't be in the lineup. Soderstrom gets a good match. Like, what do you like in the 4K range here, Keith?
Yeah, a lot to like in this range. I don't mind Duran. I'm going to have so much McGill because of how the pitching slate looks that it's going to be tough to get to a bunch of him. Especially, I like Jordan Beck a ton right there. Rockies, again, I'm going to have significant exposure to, and he's been their best hitter so far this season. Hard to argue against what Grisham and Bellinger have been doing. I'm not stacking against DeGrom by any means, but if you want to chase a home run there, I'm fine with that. Brenton Doyle, another one of those Rockies I like. And then we get to an absolutely loaded couple of guys here. Lawrence Butler is one of my favorite hitters on the slate. Like I mentioned, I'm going to have a sprinkle of Kohanowitz just because of how bad pitching is, but I much prefer Lawrence Butler to the pitcher in this game. I love Dalton Varsho a ton. George Springer is fine, but Blue Jays lefties in particular, what I'm really targeting there against Vasquez. So Varsho, one of my favorite hitters on the slate. Let's see here. I think that about covers it. But like, we're talking about 3 or 4 of my favorite guys in Butler, Varsho, Beck, Doyle. All 4 of those guys I'll be significantly expensive.
Phillies lineup just dropped. We have the exact lineup they ran, I believe, the other day against Kyle Freeland. Turner, Harper, Schwarber, Castellanos, Real Muto, Bohm, Sosa, Wilson, Rojas. So they're going all righty split guys. Edmundo Sosa hitting 7th, Alec Bohm hitting 6th, Remuto hitting 5th. It's an interesting lineup because, I didn't like. They should be doing this. John and I were talking about this the other day. Why did they go out and acquire Max Kepler? They needed a righty bat. They had him. Austin Hayes, he was on the team. They didn't need to let him go. And they did. They let him walk. Or did they trade him? They might have tried. I don't know. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Yeah, I think he's a free agent too. Sub 4K, we have Anthony Santander, who homered against Dylan Cease to just ruin my life yesterday. Cease made 2 bad pitches, and both were hit for home runs against Vladdy and Santander. But Santander now under 4K, hitting 6th. That's interesting. Lourdes has looked really good against right-handed pitching lately. This is a really good spot for righty bats, really good ballpark for home runs. You have Weston Wilson at 3,800. For sure, a pinch hit candidate if this game is at all competitive later. So you always run that risk if you're using someone like that. What other value plays? Like, you have Haggerty leading off. Do we really want to go there? Kyron Paris stole 2 bases yesterday. He's been a corpse since the word go. You have Matthew Lugo, who homers but also strikes out a boatload. Like, what do we got for the value outfielders?
Yeah, I really like the high end of the 3K range. Santander, Weston Wilson, Gurriel, Taylor Ward, Jorge Soler.
Okay. I didn't mean to skip Ward. But he's been on one of those all otherworldly runs that he goes on a couple times a year.
Yeah, and hitting lefties this season as well as righties has been a little bit reverse splitsy the last couple of years, but has really good numbers against lefties this season. Jorge Soler does not, but has absolutely destroyed them in the past. So take your pick there. I like both of the Angels guys a bunch.
Yeah, I mean, they're cheap, right? There's a reason why they have 5.2 implied runs. I see two of their outfielders are two of the top 3 outfielders in terms of ownership. The top 5 of 6 are all from this game. 3 on the athletic side and 2 on it definitely makes sense. But I see 4 outfielders from the A's or from the Angels all in like basically getting double-digit ownership. So like, and that includes Joe Adell, and that includes Matthew Lugo. And I would much rather play Matthew Lugo than Joe Adell. I'll tell you that right now. I know Joe Adell has the double dong, but Matthew Lugo has at least put bat to ball a couple times this year. So I think Lugo looks pretty good. Is there anything else? Is there anything? I'm in the scrap heap here. I'm trying to put the on the car. I don't know if there are any though.
Nothing that looks anywhere near as exciting as the guys we've talked about. Nathan Lukes is in the Blue Jays lineup. If you're looking for a punt that kind of correlates with some of the Blue Jays exposure, I don't hate that. I'm not excited about it, but it's another name.
Was he a former Cub?
No.
Okay. I figured that would be the only reason you'd mention him.
Yeah, he's not good at baseball.
I'm just kidding.
He's in a spot that I like today. That's
I know. I am absolutely kidding. You're right. I will play anybody that takes a bat up from the left side against Randy Vasquez because I know it's coming. I know the blow up is coming. Mickey Moniak as well, 3,400 gets Taijuan Walker, former Angel. We're just in Angels in the outfield today, you know. Shout out to that wonderful movie from a long time ago that nobody under 30 knows about for sure. Let's get a lineup built. That's what we do here, Keith. We build the lineup. Actually, you know what? We're going to get to some comments because Anthony just commented on the Braves game, and I knew I had a comment. Grande and Keith, am I crazy if I fade DeGrom and Crochet? I kind of like McGill and Burns. What do we think?
I don't think that's crazy. Crochet is clearly the top pitcher on the slate, in my opinion, but he's also going to be the highest owned pitcher on the slate. Yes. So you have that factor in there. I like McGill as well, especially considering the price and the strikeout upside. So I am good with that. I don't think Burns has the upside of a DeGrom or a Crochet. But if DeGrom runs into some rain and Crochet only gets 6 strikeouts instead of 8, I think that you have a chance there.
Poe Degen and his munchies says Barger Goat, 2 bases, 155. You got to be so high. Martin Maldonado, 2 bases, plus 340. You are in the clouds, my friend. Nick Kurtz, 150. Warren says Beck Bomb. I don't disagree with that. Also says Soderstrom Bomb. I also like that one. Tovar Bomb, says Donnie. We got a bunch of home run calls in the chat. If you guys want to throw your home run calls in the chat, be my guest. Please do. We'll pull them up on screen. Kyle Schwarber, 0 for 4.
Don't put that on me.
I know. Come on, Ricky. Come on, Ricky Bobby. Don't put that evil on me. I agree. Don't play Brave or Nuts. Yes, Anthony, thank you. If you can see right here, I actually don't have it because also this right here they were listing all the Braves pitchers and I just didn't want to look through, so I just couldn't handle it. It was overwhelming me, so I just decided to not do it. And then Barger Bomb is Poe Degen's home run call. So we got Barger, Tovar, Soderstrom, Beck. Keith, if I were to put you on the spot right now, who's going yard tonight?
Of those guys, or just in general?
No one course. Cannot answer with course.
All right.
Actually, I'll let you answer. I'll let you answer with a Rocky. You will not be allowed to answer with a Philly in this exercise.
All right, fair enough. Let's see here. Who's going yard?
Mine is Zach Nato.
Oh, I love that one. Yeah, good call. Give me. I'm going to stick on the same team there and go Taylor Ward.
Okay, love that.
Yeah.
That would correlate great with my DFS lineup tonight. Let's get a lineup built for the folks at home before we get out of here. Reminder: lineup lock is at 6:45 Eastern tonight. 6:45. So we're within an hour of the slate lock. Mets and Red Sox kick off. Then, where do you want to start? I think Crochet was definitively number one, and McGill was definitively number two. But I'm assuming, right? I think that's where we wanted to start.
Yes, especially with weather still looming. I know the upgrade happened for DeGrom, but I still think there's plenty of in-game delay risk there for DeGrom. So it's clearly those two for me.
Okay. Cordero, we both said JP is probably one of three pitchers under 8K that could get us double-digit fantasy points tonight. So as much as we like the Angels, they are the Angels, right? They are a absolutely awful team against left-handed pitching in a great hitting environment that can hit a lot of home runs. So I agree on JP. Could be good. Also, JP, great initials. That may or may not be mine, but not going to confirm it or deny it. Not last name, obviously. Whatever. Let's move on. Catcher or any specific plugs that we want to get in here.
So getting Crochet Schwarber is difficult. I mentioned that. There are a couple of punts that I like to be able to do that. We mentioned some cheap Angels. Ward would be my favorite. He's not necessarily super cheap. Lugo is really cheap. Yep. And then I like Blue Jays lefties, and Addison Barger is really cheap. So that kind of gives us some salary to work with now that we've got Crochet plugged in there. And if we get Schwarber, what's that leave us with for remaining?
About 3,900 a player almost with Schwarber in there.
Yeah. So I think this is a pretty good start, and we can start to fill in from there. It's going to be tough to get any other Phillies in here, which is a little bit scary.
That's another punt option, I think, for us. If we went Nick Kurtz.
I like that. And then second base eligibility for Sosa, I mentioned being important, and this you kind of see why. When you have punts in the outfield and at first base, that second base position you can spend a little bit of money
on. If we went NATO here, how about we try? Let's try this real quick. Let's see if we can make this work. Is there a catcher 2,200? I don't think any of these players will play.
No, I don't think so either.
Because I was seeing if we could possibly get more Philly if we went to Alec Boehm.
Yeah, Boehm is one of the most underpriced hitters on the slate. I'm with you there.
I agree. I think he is too cheap for the player. My only suggestion, and it might not work because the weather, would be going to DeGrom, and then it would put us at d'Arnaud or Higashioka. But again, you have staked your claim. Garrett Crochet, best pitcher of the day. I don't disagree with that for 1 second. I just don't know where to go or where to go off of.
Yeah. So the reason we're having trouble with the salary is because of the Crochet Schwarber thing that I mentioned. But that's why I like Schwarber so much, is because it's hard to do. So no one's going to do it. That's exactly why I think it's a great tournament strategy.
And it like thought provocation, like this, you shouldn't be scared to think about things, right? Like to think about the way to get Kyle Schwarber into your lineup, because he is Babe Ruth against lefties right now.
Yeah. And if it means we have to sacrifice a Sosa or something like that, that's a concession I'm willing to make today.
Okay. What do you want to do at second then if we're not playing Edmundo? Or like catcher specifically, is there anything that we'd want to get? Like, would you rather get a specific catcher or a specific second baseman?
there's no true like punt catcher. I don't mind Higashioka, especially with it looks like the weather is okay there. I'd be fine with Dalton Rushing if he's in the lineup. If I could just pick out any name here, it's Goodman or Ohapi would be my favorite guys, but that's going to squeeze the salary a little bit more. Ohapi we might be able to get to. Another guy I think is a little bit underpriced for his talent level in this matchup.
It kind of does make sense to go to Ohapi here, and then we do have this range where you have Urias, you have Kim, you have Semien, all kind of just sit there like, pick me, please pick me.
Yep, I'd be fine with any of those three. I think I'd rank them Kim, Semien, Urias.
What if I told you this? That the highest roster, do you know who the highest roster, without looking, do you know who the highest roster second baseman of the day is?
I don't. I would guess Semien probably. No way.
Luis Rengifo is the highest rostered second baseman of the day as of right now.
He just hasn't done anything this season.
No, that is solely based off last year's numbers against left-handed pitching.
Yeah.
He has not been a good player.
Yeah, I struggled to see it. I know he's really cheap and he fits the lineup. We have an Angel stack rolling already.
It's the Angels. That's the thing, right? Like,
yeah.
It's the Angels.
I don't feel the need to full stack them necessarily. I think they can hit a couple of home runs for sure.
That's all they're going to do because they're going to strike out the rest of their at-bats, right? Hillbilly, we like the Towinator, but he's not cheap enough for this lineup construction that we got going on. So we'll go Semien here. We'll go with as long as Kevin Roth hasn't updated the weather. Let's see if we got anything on the old Twitter machine for Kevin Roth. Looks like he still just looks everything looks good. So salute to him for working a profession that benefits all of us and putting out the weather each and every day. It's really awesome, especially on days like this where we have a game postponed and you can see that from a mile away in a game that looks scary. And I would just be like, yeah, it looks fine. I don't know how to read a weather report, Keith. I don't know if you've ever done it, but
no. I did have the pleasure of working with Roth for several years, so I can attest. Good dude, always spot on with his weather reporting. So agree, he is the weather goat.
He is the weather goat, and you are the goat as well, Keith. You can follow Keith over on Twitter, because that's what we call it, Twitter, at EYS819DFS. You can follow me on Twitter at @the_real_grande. And yeah, that'll do it. 45 minutes to lock. Big salute to everybody. Big salute to you, Keith. We'll be back tomorrow with I don't think the live stream, but I do believe there will be a pre-show for it. So we will catch you guys later. Good luck tonight. Hope to see you all in the winner circle.